Hello, in this video I'm going to explain to you how to play Chinese chess. Over here I have a Chinese chess set with regular Chinese pieces. These pieces have Chinese characters on them. The characters differ slightly from one side to the other. These are the red pieces. These are the black pieces. Briefly, these are the chariots. Then we have the horses. Then the ministers. Over here we have elephants. Then the advisors. The general. The object of the game is to checkmate or stalemate the general. Here we have chariots, and here we have pawns. And over here is a Cambolic Chinese chess set. Cambolic is the brand name for this. This is a rare set I bought on eBay. And this uses, as you can see, Staunton style pieces for the Chinese chess pieces. And where there isn't a piece in chess that is a counterpart to the piece in Chinese chess, there are some new pieces. So this is different than what you have in chess. And so is this. All the others are your standard chess pieces. And here it's played on a checkered board. Over here, the pieces are on the intersections of lines. See, like here, lines go vertically, lines go horizontally. And I want to show you the traditional Chinese chessboard. It looks like this. I'm holding it sideways because the video is going to be in landscape. And over here we have some diagonal lines going like this and this, and over here going like that and that. And these diagonal lines designate parts of the board called the palace. The palace is the area that the general and his advisors are limited to. The general here, the advisors, they cannot leave the palace. On this board, the palace is designated by a box drawn around the spaces. Here you have the diagonal lines. So these cannot move outside of the palace, the advisors and the general. Okay, so back to some other characteristics of the board. Down here we have the river. The river separates the two halves of the board from each other. And let me point out that if you got rid of the river and you push the two boards together and you put the pieces on the spaces instead of the corners, you would have an 8x8 board like chess is played on, or more exactly like the ancestor of chess was played on, because it would be uncheckered. And Chinese chess and chess, the game we play in the West, are related to each other. Neither is based on the other, but both appear to be based on an earlier ancestor, probably the game of Chaturanga played in India. And as you can see, there are some similarities to chess. We have rooks in the corner. You can see the rooks here. We have knights next to the rooks. You see bishops next to the knights. These aren't actually bishops, these are elephants. But they move similarly to the ancestor of the bishop. Here we have the advisors move like the ancestor of the queen, which is called the furs in Chaturanga. And then we have the general. Up here we have pawns. You know, they're in a different position and there are spaces between them. But like in chess, you have a row of pawns on your outmost rank. There's some separation here for pieces to move around in, and we have some new pieces that we don't have in chess, the cannons in particular. Okay, let me get back to characteristics of the board. You'll also notice that some spaces on the board have markings around them. Here, 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 here. here, and here. And the spaces with these markings around them are the spaces that the pawns and the cannons go on. So here, for example, is markings around the space for the cannon. Here's some markings around the space for a pawn. You can see here perhaps more clearly. So Chinese chess is played pretty much like chess, with some differences in how the pieces move and some differences in the object of the game. Let me start with the object of the game, which is to checkmate or stalemate your opponent. Checkmate works the same as it does on chess, and stalemate works the same as it does on chess. Remember, stalemate does not mean a draw in chess. There are other ways to draw chess besides stalemate. What stalemate means is that you put your opponent into a position where he has no legal move. And if you do that in Chinese chess, you win the game. So let me go on to how the pieces move. And we'll start with the rook here, or the chariot, as it's called in Chinese chess. And the rook can move along a row or along a file. This row is called a rank here. This is called a file. And it can move any number of spaces as long as it's unblocked by other pieces. It can go down to here. It can even go here and capture that piece. As in chess, pieces capture other pieces by moving to the space occupied by the piece. And it can move down to here. It cannot move here because you cannot capture pieces on your side. If it's here, it's blocked by this and it's blocked by this, so it can only move up or down like this. And the only difference between this rook and the one in chess is that there is no castling in Chinese chess. Next we have the knight. And the knight moves almost the same as it does in chess. But there is a difference here. It can be blocked. So, you see, the knight can move here, it can move here, because those moves are unblocked. The way it moves is it moves to here first, and then to here, or it moves to here. But if this space were blocked, then it could not move here or here. And you know, in chess, a knight can move here, like this can move here, but it can't in Chinese chess because this blocks it, or this blocks it here. And so, because that space is occupied, its move is blocked and it cannot move there. Okay, next we have the ministers on the red side. And let me bring that closer so you can see. Looks like that. Or the elephants on the black side. And in Chinese, these pieces, the names of these pieces sound the same, but different characters are used by them for them, and they have different meanings. Now, the minister, or the elephant, moves almost the same as the ancestor of the bishop from Chaturanga. It moves 2 spaces diagonally. So this can move here, this could move here. But like the bishop, it can be blocked. So if something were here, say, that move would be illegal. So like the knight, the elephant can also be blocked, or the minister can also be blocked. So these 2 pieces are very similar to each other. They differ mainly in the path that they take to get to their destination. One more restriction on the minister's move, or the elephant's move, is that it cannot cross the river. So if it's here, for example, or if it were here, it cannot, see, if it's here, it cannot move here, it cannot move here, those moves are illegal because it just cannot cross the river. So it's strictly a defensive piece. Next we have the advisors. Here's what the red advisor looks like. Here's the black advisor. And this piece moves one space diagonally, like its ancestor from Chaturanga does, called the furs, which also moves one space diagonally. The only difference being that in Chinese chess, the advisor cannot move outside the palace. So, although it can move here diagonally, it cannot move here. Like, that's an illegal move. So on this board, these are limited to the white spaces. On this board, they're limited to the spaces connected by the diagonals. Now we get to the general. Here's what the red general looks like. And the general, oh, here's the black general. They look very different from each other. The general moves one space horizontally or vertically. That was a vertical move. Now on its next turn, it could move here, or here, or here, but it cannot move like that. It cannot move there. So it cannot move here or here, but it can move here, 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 or here. And there's one more rule concerning the movement of generals. Let me take these off the board for a moment. Let's say I have this here, then that becomes an illegal move. And the reason for it is that here there's a rule against two generals being on the same file without any pieces between them. It's called the opposing generals rule. So these spaces are unoccupied. Basically, if it went here, it would be in check. So it cannot move there. It's as if one general has the power to move as a rook to capture the other general on the opposite side of the board. Though we generally just say it's the opposing generals rule, that two generals cannot oppose each other. And it comes in handy at the end game when you have fewer pieces on the board to checkmate your opponent with. Okay, next we get to the cannons. Here's what the red cannon looks like. Here's a black cannon. And the cannon moves like the rook when it's not capturing. So it can move up to here, or then you have to go to any of those spaces. It can go here, it can go here, or here, or here, and it can go here. But it cannot go here, and it cannot capture that. Although it moves like the rook when it's not capturing, it captures differently. It still moves like a rook, but it has to hop over another piece to make its capture. So here, this can go here and capture that, or this can go here and capture that. And what it's done is it's hopped over an intervening piece called a screen. And that's how it makes its captures. Note that the cannon can capture the knight at the beginning of the game, but it's not a good idea because the cannon is worth more. And this tells me I have to finish up quickly. Okay, the pawns can go one space forward, like a pawn in chess. They also capture one space forward. And after they cross the river, they can move sideways, one space or the other, one direction or the other. So that's how the pieces move. The game is played like chess otherwise, and you have to checkmate your opponent or stalemate him to win. Thank you for watching. Bye.